The Unhappy Hour on TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Fingers crossed. This is like the 10th time our phone has disconnected us. I've gone through 3 different browsers. I've restarted the phone. I've unplugged the internet connection, and I've gone from the 2G to the 5G. I'm trying everything a guy like me can come up with to try to make sure we have a legitimate connection on the communication lines with Zak Baris. We pretty much talked about Baker Mayfield and all the stuff that we saw in the Thursday night win, the 21-17 win over the Jets. Great win, new energy in the stadium, new life, new energy. This quarterback is legit. I think I've seen everything I need to see to say this is a guy that you can build a franchise around. I don't think you need to keep wasting your time looking for the man. I think we found the man. I think we got a good draft pick out of it, and I'm excited for it. So if you want to check all of that, we're going to try to compile all of those 17 clips together into one show and post it on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia, so please click subscribe. If you're watching on this camera over here, hello, this is our private Facebook group, The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. Invite all your Indians, Cavs, Browns, Buckeye, and Blue Jacket fans into the group. It's a good time. Thank you for watching. Type your questions, type your comments in the boxes below, right here. So, Zach, after wrapping up the Cleveland Browns talk, obviously this time of year it's one of my favorite times of the year. Fall start, you can smell fall. The pumpkin spice lattes are out in full force. Bonfires, high school football, and the end of the baseball season. This baseball season had the Cleveland Indians kind of run away with the division. It's a weak division, but we did run away with it, and we didn't go on an epic 22-game winning streak this year.
I don't think they really cared to do that this year. I think it had called for it, and they were struggling at some point. I think they would have turned on the Jets, but I don't think there was really any ever need to do it this year.
Do you think a streak like that is something you can turn on and turn off? That was always the Cavs.
I don't mean 22 games, but you can get hot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I mean, like the game the Indians lost today, Francona was not trying. He kept Carrasco in the game, and they lost. I mean, you know, normally you would have gone to Brad Hand there, but I think they're just trying to get everything down. And I don't think that I just don't think they care right now. If, you know.
Well, that might be the case with Francona tweaking the lineup. What did you see? Did you see Trevor Bauer come back? Did you have any thoughts on how he was looking out there on the mound? I mean, he pitched a good half game, and that he's going to be key for us.
I mean, I just hope he's fully healthy, and if he is, then the Indians will be fine.
Yeah.
You know, don't forget this was one of the best starters in baseball this year.
Trevor Bauer was on Cy Young path until he got injured.
He would have probably won the Cy Young if he wouldn't have gotten injured.
What do you think Corey Kluber's chances are? I mean, he became a 20-game winner for the first time in his career.
I think it's going to be Snell from Tampa Bay. He'll probably win the American League Cy Young. I mean, it could be him. There's a couple guys who could win it. You know, in the National League, I mean, obviously it's going to be DeGrom. But yeah, Kluber's definitely a candidate. I don't think he wins it this year, but he's definitely a candidate to win it.
Well, talk a little bit about the Cleveland Indians staff, because what are we? We're the first team in Major League Baseball history to have 4 pitchers with more than 200 strikeouts in a season.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? This has never been done in the history of baseball.
No, I mean it's incredible. They almost did it last year if it weren't for injuries. And this year they got it done, and I mean it's incredible. It really is. Their pitching staff. You know, I love how people were writing off the Indians after, you know, they're like 8 teams their last year to compete. This really is. I don't see why it would be their last year to compete. You know, you look at the Tribe, and you say, okay, you only have one major free agent after the year, and it's Michael Brantley. I mean, yes, Cody Allen and Andrew Miller are free agents, but the seasons they've had, odds are you can re-sign at least one of them. You still have Brad Hand. You have Adam Simber, hasn't been great, but Hand's been very good. You know, this allows you, you know, the trading of Mejia. You know, and I mean, by the way, Yan Gomes has been on fire.
Yeah.
On fire. He's been the best catcher in baseball since the All-Star break. He really has been. Look at his numbers. I mean, they're fantastic. Defensively and offensively, he's been killing the ball. You know, having a force like that in the lineup, you know, after trading Mejia has been fantastic for the Indians. It's been just great. You know, and you know, you look at his team. You know, the pitching staff is still locked up. You know, another arm to consider for the bullpen next year is Danny Salazar if he's remotely healthy. You know, nobody really knows what's going on with him. But if he's healthy next year, you don't want to stick him back in the rotation because odds are he won't be able to sustain, you know, his health. So what you do is you put him in the bullpen, more limited innings. The guy can throw hard.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do lose Cody Allen or Andrew Miller, you're fine. I still, the one big signing you got to work on this offseason, Michael Brantley, who's been also fantastic for the Indians. And Kipnis has been playing better as of late, too.
I know. Dare we say that we're firing on all cylinders right now? Dare we say?
Jose Ramirez has been cold. But he's still hitting the ball hard, which is a good sign. Donaldson's just getting back in there. Donaldson's fully healthy. The Indians have, other than the Yankees, the Indians have just as dangerous of a lineup as the Yankees or the Red Sox going into the postseason, or even the Astros with a healthy Donaldson.
Mm-hmm.
And if your starters are fully healthy, this is a team that can compete. And if the bullpen, if Miller does well, if this team is at full strength, there's no doubt that this team can go and win the World Series.
Absolutely. It's
and it's funny, the one team that scares me in the National League are the Milwaukee Brewers. They have just been unbelievable. Christian Yelich, imagine if the Indians would have traded for him over the offseason. The guy's just, he deserves to win the MVP in the NL. And obviously, Mike Trout's going to win in the AL.
Is it so obvious? Is Francisco going to get some votes?
I think Lindor will get some votes. I think Jose Ramirez will get some votes. But I ultimately think it's going to go to Mike Trout. It's just unfortunate Mike Trout's been on the worst team in baseball his entire career. This is the difference between baseball and football. I made a very clear point. I don't want to get off topic, but I'm just going to make this. This is back in 2008. We were making this argument, 2009. Who would you rather have, Albert Pujols or LeBron James, circa 2009? And some people are like, oh, give me Albert Pujols over LeBron. And we were coming with the argument how more important it is to have one superstar basketball player than have one superstar baseball player. The Cardinals were just as good. They barely had a drop-off without Pujols in their lineup. You take LeBron off the Cavs at that point, they went from 61 wins to 17 wins or whatever they won. That's what I'm getting at is Trout, one player in baseball, doesn't make that big of a deal. The Indians in 2008, Cliff Lee won the Cy Young. The Indians barely were 500.
No, well, you do the simple math. There's 5 people on a court in basketball, so 1 out of 5 is 20% of your team.
But you also, that year, the Indians had the 2 best pitchers in baseball in 2008, in Sabathia and Cliff Lee, and didn't even sniff the playoffs. Did the 2 best pitchers in baseball. Remember when they traded Sabathia over to Milwaukee, how good he was.
Sabathia and Lee, back-to-back Cy Young winners. We offed them year after year, back-to-back. Brutal.
That's what. But if you look back at the returns, it's paying dividends for the Indians now. Who did we get back in the Sabathia trade? Michael Brantley. Who did we get back in the Phillies trade for Cliff Lee? Carlos Carrasco.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do from time.
It's not like we lost those trades at the time. The big prospect never panned out. Carrasco was the number 2 guy in that Phillies trade, and Brantley was the player to be named later. Laporta was the big piece in the Brewers trade, and he turned out to suck.
Yeah, we had so much hope for Laporta. I remember that.
Hey, but it doesn't matter. Brantley's a multi-time All-Star. It's not like the Indians lost that trade.
Right.
For a half a year of Sabathia, you get an All-Star left fielder who's been fantastic for the Tribe. He's been great.
Well, tell me about Sabathia for a second, Brantley for a second, because his health and his consistency and his high batting average and his professionalism, how do you think that that's rubbing off on the team? Because we haven't had a healthy Michael Brantley since I can't really remember the last time. I really can't remember.
Last year he was healthy until the end of the year. He was. And this year he's been healthy all year. He's been great. Mm-hmm. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball. He's been one of the best hitters in September. I love Brantley. He's just, he's the guy, if we would have had him in 16, it just really makes you think.
I know.
It just really makes you think if we had a healthy Brantley, and people were bitching at the beginning of the year, going, oh, I can't believe we re-signed Brantley over Carlos Santana. Santana has been better than Yonder Alonso, but we're also paying him, $13 million a year less. And it's not a long-term deal. You still have Encarnacion for another year. You still have good players in the minors. You still have a young pitching staff. Don't forget, you've got your main 4 locked up. You still have Bauer. You still have Kluber. You still have Carrasco. You still have these guys, and you still, I'm missing someone here. You still have Bieber, too. Bieber's very young. You've got and Clevenger, I meant.
Clevenger, yeah.
With Bieber. You've got a young starting rotation. You've got a bunch of young arms. You still have Tristan McKenzie in the minors. The Indians still have a bunch of good young vets. They still have a lot of tradable pieces, and that's what we were witnessing. It's not like Yan Gomes is 36 years old. Yan Gomes is in the middle of his prime right now. There was no room for Mejia up here. Will they go out? And if they make another deep run at the playoffs this year, the season ticket holder base just keeps building and building and building. It's more and more money in the Indians' pockets every year. And it's not like they're going around not spending it. I mean, our payroll has significantly increased since Terry Francona has been the manager here. And they've been over 500 every season since he's been the manager.
And how do you feel that the Cleveland fan base has responded? I see a lot of empty seats when I watch these games. What do you
There are empty seats, but they've been improving every year. Brian, it's tough, especially in Cleveland, when you have the Cavs being so good every year and their money's being diverted to going into the playoffs at the end of every season. It's tough. Trust me, I'm a Cavs season ticket holder. It's tough.
Yeah, no,
it's very, very tough.
Well, just wait till the Browns make the playoffs.
I personally have a 20-game package of the Indians. I have a half season for the Cavs and a full season for the Browns. And I look at it.
It's a good way to do it.
And I say to myself, what?
It's a good way to do it. There's a lot of games
in
baseball.
I can't go to 81 baseball games a year. 20 is enough for me.
Yeah.
It's plenty. I still watch them on TV, but 20 is plenty of games for me, and I've got a quarter season. And, I'm not interested, even for the same person, would not be interested in 40 games. It's just too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's 1/10 of your year. If there's 400 days in a year and 40 games, I mean, 1 out of every 10. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask. It's a big ask.
5 days a year.
And when the Indians, when the Cleveland Browns are in town and competitive, man, now you're competing. When the Indians went on that that sold out streak, it was different. It was a new stadium. It was a fresh and upcoming team, and the Browns weren't around. We also did not
have the Browns, and the Cavaliers were not winning at that time either.
Exactly.
Don't forget, it was the first winning baseball Cleveland had seen since the 1950s. Let's put this into perspective for a second.
Yeah.
It had been 40 years since Cleveland had seen a good baseball team. 40 years. People got behind them. It was the same thing. The Cavaliers were last in attendance. They got LeBron James. They went from worst to first in the league in a matter of one season in 2003. And people still kept supporting the Cavs. The Cavaliers were very smart to lock in their premium seat holders into 3 and 5 and 7 year contracts this offseason.
Oh, that's how they did it?
They were very smart.
3, 5, and 7, huh?
All the floor seats, all the super expensive seats, anything in the floor section is a 3, 5, or 7 year commitment.
Wow. Is that standard in the NBA? Is that a regular occurrence?
Not necessarily. No, the Cavaliers did it knowing that the uncertainty about LeBron, and they did it for a reason. With the arena renovation, they want to make sure their premium seats are locked up. And they were smart, and they did it correctly.
Well, I keep hearing rumors that Dan Gilbert's going to be selling the team. I feel like every other month I hear another rumor. I don't know what
I don't see him selling the team. He just pumped in a ton of his own money into the arena renovation. I don't see why he would sell the team. That's just stupid. Doesn't make financial sense.
That's true.
Makes no fiduciary sense to do that. Pumped in a ton of money, and now he's pumping an extra $25 million now at this point, to fund the rest of the state, to fund the rest of the arena. There's no way he's selling the team.
Okay, I'm all right with that. He's been proven to be a guy that spends and invests in the team, and we locked up Kevin Love. I mean, he's a one of the top players. He's a very good player. Maybe he got overpaid. Yeah. I don't know, but we'll find out. Back to the Indians real quick, because I'll have to bring you back and we'll do a full Cavaliers show. I want to talk about Sexton. I want to talk about so many basketball things. I know we talk a lot about basketball. It's going to be weird not having LeBron again, but he's in my backyard now. I'm still not sure how to process this, but
you know what, Brian? All I'm going to say is this real quick before we go back to baseball is don't even be angry at LeBron. Take it in stride what it is. You know what? The Cavaliers the last few years, it was just getting stale at the end. There was nothing they could do to go and beat the Golden State Warriors, who added DeMarcus Cousins in the offseason. At this point, LeBron was more interested, in my opinion, of pursuing his movie career and pursuing Hollywood. He's done just that since he's gotten there. Exactly what he's done. I expect LeBron to be back in Cleveland in 3 years to finish out his career.
I do too. I'm not even...
So don't be mad at the guy. Take it in stride. Enjoy the season. The Cavaliers will be fun. We'll be watching. Honestly, I think they're going to be fun to watch. Colin Sexton will be fun to watch. And again, I'm telling you this, Kobe's got something up his sleeve. Expect him to acquire a veteran, potential all-star, possible all-star sometime. If or during before the season, something will happen. Mark my words on that.
Are you hearing that we're going to go out and get Jimmy?
It's a rumor. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I don't think the Cavaliers have the pieces without giving up a guy like Colin Sexton or Kevin Love to do it.
Wow.
And personally, I don't think Rodney Hood's that desirable. But they do have some young pieces on the roster who other teams might covet.
Yeah.
There are some young pieces, and the problem is they don't own the draft picks, and that's the problem at this point. They need to take on a bad contract in order to get the picks, and they don't really have the cap space right now either because they're still cap strapped. You know, they still have J.R. Smith under contract. They still have Thompson for the time being. It doesn't. You know, let's see how this plays out over the first couple of weeks of the season. I mean, the Cavaliers are in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes. I don't know how they could make it work and for who, but if they were, I'd automatically think Chetty would be involved in the trade. I think it would involve Ante Zizic. You know, you get the two young, you know, the young guy you got from the Celtics last year, the center. I think that a guy like Larry Nance would be included too, and in the trade, or you know, and for sure Tristan Thompson to make the money work.
Well, yeah.
You know, but I just don't see Minnesota doing it. Why would Minnesota have any incentive to do that?
Well, isn't he gone anyway? Didn't he say he wants out and that they can at least get some pieces
Minnesota
back?
wants a combination of picks, players. There are teams who just don't budge and trade stars. There are certain teams that just don't do it and let guys walk in free agency. It happens.
And you think that's who they're... I thought they're trying to get a resolution of that quicker, so before the season starts.
I still tend to think that Kyrie Irving goes to the Knicks or the next offseason.
That's going to be an interesting storyline.
A trusted source has told me that he has his eyes set on New York.
I've heard New York for a long time.
There's a reason why Danny Ainge won't trade Terry Rozier. I'm making that very clear. There's a reason why he won't trade him.
Because he's not getting the commitment from Kyrie.
He doesn't know. That's the thing. He just doesn't know. Kyrie's not going to commit it away. He'd be stupid to commit at this point. He can't sign the max deal anyway until the year's over. So there'd be no reason. Why leave all that money on the table for a 4-year deal rather than a 5-year deal? So there's no assurance that Kyrie's leaving or staying at this point. I tend to think from what I've heard from a trusted source that he has his eye on New York.
Okay. Well, then who joins him in New York? I think Durant leaves the Warriors after this season.
I tend to think that there are going to be two stars teaming up with LeBron in the offseason in LA, and I tend to think it's going to be Anthony Davis and maybe Kevin Durant.
Do you make a lot of Anthony Davis and their management switching over to LeBron's team?
I do. Brian, I can tell you from personally seeing Rich Paul this summer at my yacht club in Cleveland on multiple occasions wearing the same Lakers shorts that LeBron is wearing. Rich is an agent wearing Lakers shorts at a yacht club. It speaks volumes to where he's at. I witnessed it personally. I'm not going to sit there and take pictures, but I witnessed it on multiple occasions this offseason. Just in the last 3 weeks.
So wait, because LeBron's agent is wearing Lakers shorts, or you're saying?
I'm just saying it's, he's an agent wearing shorts, from a particular team. I tend to think he knows where his most important client is. This is what I'm getting at with the LA Lakers. Anthony, he looks out, along with the specifics with his own clients. He does. He's not on a fast track to bring every client to the Lakers. It's not like he was trying to bring all of his clients to the Heat when LeBron was on there. It's not what he was doing. I'm just saying, though, Anthony Davis signed with Rich Paul and signed with LRMR for a reason. I tend to think it has to do with his upcoming contract. I don't see him staying in New Orleans because of the way the DeMarcus Cousins situation was handled. And DeMarcus is now in Golden State. I tend to see Anthony Davis going to L.A. next year and teaming up with LeBron. He could go to the Knicks. He could stay in New Orleans. They could a weird trade could be worked out and he could wind up in Boston. That's another possibility too. Boston's a very desirable location. You look at the history. It's a big city. It's a fun town. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than New York, but it's not a small town. There's always something going on in Boston. It's like a mini New York.
All right. Well, look, that's going to be fun to talk about, and we'll get to that in a minute. That was the biggest teaser ever because I think we could talk basketball all day and all of the drama with the wheeling and dealing of the parts. It's fascinating. But before I let you go, I just want to bring it back to the Indians real quick. I wanted to kind of talk about the matchups, because this is reminding me a lot of 2007, where it's like if you can get out of the East, if you can get out of the American League, rather, and just get to the World Series, you can go beat the Colorado Rockies. You know, it's like you said, you might be a little worried or a little concerned about the Brewers, but either way, I mean, you got the Yankees, you have the defending champion Astros, and you have the Red Sox on a historically
You also have
great
the A's.
team.
There's no guarantee the Yankees get out of a wild card game with Oakland.
That is true.
There's no guarantee. It's a one-game playoff. Anything can happen. We watched the Indians lose to the Rays when they were favored. You know, it happens.
Yeah, it does.
You know, it's one game. You know, it's one game. That's what baseball is. You know, that's why I hate the wild card, because the better team doesn't necessarily come out. It's the one with the ace pitcher or whoever's pitching great on that day. That's all it is.
Do you think? Who do you think? If you had to guess,
My
what's your gut?
brain would tell me that the Yankees would come out, but again, it's a one game.
Okay.
You know, Oakland could win it. I'm not. You know, Oakland is a damn good team too. They're not bad. You know, Chris Davis has over 40 home runs. He's leading the league in home runs. Oakland is a very, very good team. They're just under the radar because nobody cares about the Oakland A's. They play in the worst stadium in baseball. You know, they play in the only dual stadium left in baseball, and they have no payroll, and you know, so you don't ever hear about them. And they weren't expected to be good. Nobody expected the A's to be there. People expected the Angels to be above them. People expected the Rays. I mean, the Rays had a great season too. Rays are going to win 90 games. Aren't even going to sniff the wild card.
That is rough. That is a rough year.
The American League has some really, really good teams this year. Seattle's going to be about 90 wins. It won't even be. It'll be in. You know, it'll be in fourth place for the wild card. Think about that for a second. Behind the Yankees, the A's, you know, the Rays, and then the Mariners, who are going to be a 90-win team.
Jeez. Well, what do you make of the matchup with the Red Sox then? Because I'm sorry, the Astros then. Because
the Astros are going to be very, very tough. I think they're the hardest opponent in the American League. I think they're even tougher than the Red Sox. You know, they've got Dallas Keuchel, Justin Verlander. They've got a really, really strong team. You know, I think they resemble the Indians a lot. I think both teams have really good starting rotations, and both teams have really good offenses. I think it's going to be a great series to watch. I really do. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but the Indians have to swipe one of the first two on the road from Houston.
You think that's going to be really important / crucial because we don't have the home field?
I mean, it's just better to be able to take one on the road. You know, it always feels better to take one on the road. You never want to go down 0-2 with your backs against the wall. Although we witnessed it before where teams have gone down 0-2. Look at the Yankees last year against the Indians and came back.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but I find it hard to believe, you know, if the Indians' bullpen is at full strength and Miller can pitch well, Brad Hand can pitch well, you know, and these guys are on their game, and Cody Allen's back, and these guys, you know, Cody Allen does what he's done in the playoffs in 16 and 17. The Indians are just fine. He was the best reliever in the playoffs 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, and that's something you can't take away from him. I mean, who do you think is going to be on the chopping block for the postseason roster? I mean, do you think Tomlin? Do you think Rajai Davis?
I think it's good. I don't see Tomlin getting on. I think Rajai Davis, who hasn't been getting a lot of playing time, I think you're going to see Melky Cabrera for sure on the roster. You know, you'll see the typical starting 9. You know, you see the typical starting 9 on the roster. Who else? I'm trying to think of the backups. You know, it's a matter of Greg Allen or Rajai Davis. You know, do you give it to Rajai, who's had the experience, who's hit the home run, and you know, to send the game to extra innings in the World Series? It's a tough one.
It is.
You know, I don't see them putting Dan Otero on the playoff roster. I don't see Neil Ramirez making it. You know, but here's the Indians' bullpen right now. You've got Brad Hand, Andrew Miller, Cody Allen, Oliver Perez. Those are your guaranteed 4. You know, does Tyler Olson, are you going to throw a 4th lefty in that pen? I don't think so, which is why I say Olson doesn't make it. I think Simber has a spot. It's going to be very, very difficult. Francona's got a lot to work out.
Yeah. Well, Simber has – I'm concerned about him, man. He has
had
not
some
been
very
rough
good
outings. I mean –
you know, do you give it to Neil Ramirez or Adam Simber? I don't think either one of them really pitches in the playoffs. You know, don't forget, you're either going to have Shane Bieber coming out of that bullpen. You know, which is a huge asset for you.
So that could be your long-term, your long relief guy if somebody gets rocked early. Inning eater.
Yeah.
Huh. You know, I was worried when Mickey Callaway left. And just to look at the cupboards, man, the cupboards are not empty in Cleveland. The cupboards have
no, not at all.
talent, which is pretty fantastic. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping this is the year. I hope we get a Cleveland Indians parade this year. Wouldn't that be something? I've been waiting my whole life, and we've been so close so many times. And that Cavaliers championship was sweet, but I got a hunch that the Cleveland Indians championship coming is going to be incredibly special. And yeah, we got a shot. This time of year, heading into October, that's all you can hope for is at least a chance. And I think we definitely have a chance, and that's something to start with. So I am pretty excited. I can't believe Francisco Lindor is leading our team in home runs with 37. Above
Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez has over 40.
Oh, wait, I missed Ramirez. He got over 40? I was thinking of Encarnacion. He's at 32? 30, 32, something like that. Sorry.
Yeah, he missed like almost a whole month.
That's true. That's true. No, it's really special seeing Jose Ramirez and Francisco Lindor doing something. Did you see that stat that something since was it Mickey Mantle or Joe DiMaggio?
Yeah.
Something.
It was Lou Gehrig. I think it was Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio.
It's with two players on the same team having 2 years of 80 or more extra base hits.
Extra base hits each, yeah.
I mean, I know we're kind of getting into the weird statistics with that, but to have that for 2 years in a row and nobody else has done it, just like the 4 pitchers with 200 strikeouts, hey, I like our chances to get to the World Series and win it. I mean, I think we have just as good a chance as anybody else. I know some teams have had more regular season wins, but maybe they've needed them, and maybe we haven't had to. And maybe that's played into the psyche of the team, and I like our chances, man. It's a good time to be a Cleveland sports fan, even though LeBron left the Cavs, and it's kind of a rebuilding thing. It's so super exciting to be a Cleveland Browns fan, and the undefeated Buckeyes are still in the top 4, looking really good. And Dwayne Haskins looks like a legit Heisman candidate. He's putting up Patrick Mahomes numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe next time we talk, we can get into a little bit more of the Cavs, maybe get into some of the Buckeyes, but definitely had to talk about Baker Mayfield, definitely had to talk about the Cleveland Indians season winding down and gearing up for the playoffs. So, yeah, man, thanks for sticking with me through all these technical glitches. It was really weird on my side. But
anytime, only 12 calls later, Brian, you owe me a drink when you get to Cleveland.
All right, well, hopefully, who knows? Maybe that drink will be at the Cleveland Indians parade. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, sounds like a plan, man.
All right, appreciate your time. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Zach.
Take care.
And if you're not following him on Twitter, he's at Z Baris. That's ZBARIS on Twitter. You can follow him over there. Yeah, a lot of weird, glitchy stuff going on during our show today, so thanks for sticking around with us. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out which camera to look at, because over here I have the interaction from the comments, and over here is probably going to be the main place you're going to see this, so I'm working on it. Maybe I can get both of these cameras in a similar location. But anyhow, super excited for this. Thanks for watching. I did just put out the movie Football Equals Family, the story of the Cleveland Browns' perfect season parade. It's an hour and 17 minutes long. It's my first full-length documentary film. Yes, I am a filmmaker. I made a documentary, and I'm pretty doggone proud of it, and I hope you can check it out. Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Click subscribe. It's right there. Maybe I'll make that the cover photo or the cover video when people show up. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, for now, I got to run. Thank you very much to Zach for joining us on the program, and thank you for watching on Facebook. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Peace.
It's the Unhappy Hour.